All right, everybody, it is the afternoon of September 3rd, 2025, and as of the 11 a.m. update from the National Hurricane Center, Hurricane Kiko is now a major hurricane, Category 4 strength out in the eastern Pacific Ocean. Let's take the latest look at the track from the National Hurricane Center. Again, this storm is expected to continue moving westward throughout Thursday and Friday and start to make that more northward turn as we're going into the weekend. By the time we get to around 11 p.m. on Thursday, still a Category 4, weakening ever so slightly as it moves into the central Pacific around Friday evening, and then starting to weaken as it makes that northward turn towards the island chain. Of course, there's still a lot of variability and uncertainty when it comes to the intensity of this system getting closer to the state. It's about a Category 1 by the time we get to Monday, and that's as far out as the National Hurricane Center cone of uncertainty goes for right now. Right now, it does not include the island chain, but we're still watching this very closely. There's a lot of uncertainty with this system, especially, like I mentioned, with the intensity out there as it continues to move off towards the west and northwest. Yesterday, we were saying that the long-range models are starting to agree more on that northward turn. Still a lot of variability as you get closer to the state. Let's actually take a look at the spaghetti models out there. You can see there's not much spread in the spaghetti models over the next couple of days. They're in agreement that we're going to start seeing that northward turn going into Saturday and Sunday. However, as you get closer to the state, there's still a wide spread. Again, we're still about a week out from this system impacting us, about 6 days out from it potentially making landfall or getting close to the state. Still about a 400-mile spread. Some of the models are starting to converge on the more northward track. You can see that right around here. Again, we're going to have to watch that pretty closely to see how that evolves. We do know that this system is going to be moving into a less conducive, a less favorable environment for hurricane development. Sea surface temperatures out there, these are the departure from normals, the departure from average. The blue water is the cooler than average. The warm water is the warmer than average out there. And you can see Kiko, Category 4, moving into the cooler waters of the Central Pacific after it moves west of 140 degrees west longitude, falling apart to a Category 2 and Category 1. But there's still a lot of uncertainty out there. Many of you may be asking, why is Kiko actually moving northward? It's actually because of developing low pressure up here. You can see the purple-blue colors. That's lower pressure in the middle of the atmosphere. If you want to get technical, this is 500 millibars up. That's just a unit of pressure in the atmosphere. But you can see the blue, light blue, starts to creep down ever so slightly closer to the island chain. This low pressure system right here, you can even see Kiko's low pressure right there. And low pressure is also attracted to lower pressure. You can see that this is going to continue moving closer to the island chain. Hurricanes are low pressure systems. Air moves from high to low pressure systems, so it's going to continue to move towards this cutoff low. We're going to have to watch to see how that develops very closely, because if it develops to be stronger, it could even give Kiko a more northward turn. You can see out there sea surface temperatures just out there near Kiko. They're just giving you a quick look. Temperatures right now around where Kiko is, around 81 degrees right there. You can see 81 also just south of it and to the west of it. But as it moves into the Central Pacific, this area that's in the green right here, 78. A little bit further northward, temperatures are around 76. So not conducive for hurricane development. These cooler waters typically do protect the island chain. A quick look outside, you can actually see, I don't want you to take very much stock. This is just one weather model of many, but as we're going into Tuesday afternoon and potentially Wednesday, you're seeing impacts for the Big Island. This is the European model, which happens to take a more southward track out there, actually brings most of the rainfall to the Big Island, a little bit for Maui proper, not so much for the rest of Maui County, and most of the remnant rainfall actually stays off to the west and southwest of the island chain. But as we're going into some of the other weather models, they bring it a little bit more northward, bringing rain for the rest of the state. That's why we got to keep a very close eye on it. Of course, we're taking a look at wind shear as well. If you don't know what wind shear is, it's just the difference from the winds high up in the atmosphere to the winds low in the atmosphere. When you have strong winds high up in the atmosphere, it can tear or shear the storm apart. You can see it's actually moving into a favorable environment over the next couple of days. This black color right here, where there isn't very strong wind shear shear out there that could tear the storm apart. But as it gets closer to the island chain, unfavorable wind shear is going to be starting to tear it apart. So we are seeing a lot of signs out there showing that Kiko is going to get weaker as it continues moving off towards the west and northwest. Again, major hurricane status right now at Category 4, and then going to continue moving off towards the west and northwest. We've got to watch this very closely over the next couple of days. Still a lot of uncertainty. Make sure to stay tuned to the First Alert Weather Team for the latest information.